Hey guys. I am super excited to get into the tutorials of the second book in the series of coloring passports. We've got the freshwater edition. I'm Rio. And I don't remember what the intro is. Okay, we're just gonna jump into this. We're just not even gonna worry about the intro and outro because I've been left to do this all by myself, people, okay? And the filming and editing really isn't my job. My job is to write and illustrate the books and then do then color these in for you so you can see how it's done. If you want it to look, you know, all profession, whatever, if you want to know the art secrets. But this part of it here is not my job. So it's because I love you that I'm doing it anyway, under great stress. So here we go. Ready? Here we go. Okay, so we're gonna start the book with like the hardest page in the book because if I don't, then I'm gonna skip around because I know me. So we're gonna roll around. First of all, do you see this picture right here? That's my dad. He's the guy who taught me how to fish. When you're working with the colored pencils, you gotta kind of work at it like as if it's going to be a watercolor. So you're gonna put all your light colors first. And so I'm gonna grab some of my yellows here. These are the Crayolas. These are my Prismacolors, and I have some Hoo Hoo Heroes here that we are about to have on our website as well. These are really nice too. This is a nice lower range, lower price point for colored pencils. The Prismacolors obviously are, you know, kind of the higher end ones, but they're creamy and delicious and I love them so much. So let's, I should have got this done ahead of time, but I just didn't. I'm rusty, y'all. I haven't done an illustration in months because I just finished the third book in the series and I have 2 months to finish 2 more books and I don't even know how that's gonna happen. To be quite honest, I don't even know. So we're just gonna get into it. I'm gonna do the best that I can. I'm gonna let you know right now. I have never painted, colored, or drawn freshwater fish until I had to do the illustrations for this book. And these illustrations I think are really pretty good. The book that we just finished that we'll announce when I get to the end of the series was very challenging. But this one was easier. So we're gonna get some of these sharpened and then we're gonna just get to moving and shaking here on what we got going on. I don't know what's happening, but by the time I get all these books done, I'm gonna have to order another set of Prismacolors. And if we get to 50,000 on YouTube, then we'll give away a box of Prismacolors. That'll be awesome. That's our next goal, is to get to 50,000 on YouTube. 50,000 on YouTube and 5,000 on Instagram. And we'll give away a whole set of Prismacolors. Yup, it's happening. Let's see here. We're gonna come in here with a little bit of, this is dark umber. Y'all, I gotta get new contacts. I can't see a dang thing. So all I'm trying to do is establish where I think some of these shadows would be in here. So I'm just gonna lightly kind of go over some of this. And I'm not even really gonna color the entire thing. I am just going to color a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Because I want to... I think I accidentally colored the leaf there. Yeah, I think I did. See, it's hard for even me, and I drew this. Okay, there's that. Now we want a little bit of some red in there, so I'm going to grab the sienna brown. It's more to the red side. Oh yeah, that's lovely. Oh yeah, look at that. And again, I am barely coloring any of this at this particular moment. I am just lightly grazing every bit of it. Oh, that's gold. We don't want gold. We want a bit more of that orangey color. So anything that's going to have more orange in it, more red, is going to come forward. We're just going to put that one there. Okay, what else do we have here? What does this color look like? Oh, yeah, that's another layer of really niceness there. I'm going to kind of come in and start just making some marks on this wood. You guys can't even see what I'm doing over there because I've got it blocked. Going to start making it a little bit darker and a little bit darker. Oh, that is, wow. Wow. Sometimes I try to put them back in there, and other times I try to keep them out so I know what I've used. See, that adds a little bit more texture to the wood there as well. I'm not going to finish this part of it. Not 100% because I want to do some of the green in the leaves first. So first thing I'm going to do is grab the chartreuse. It's a very nice color and it's really bright and intense, and I'm going to put some of that here and here on these leaves. And it's going to be really, really bright, but I'm going to go back over it with some other colors so it won't be so crazy. See some of these, I want those to kind of fade out a little bit more, so I'm going to grab the sap green light, and I'm going to kind of just come in and set those down just a bit. I'm going to set these right here for now. So I'm not really sure what I want to do with the background color on this. When I'm working on my own personal artwork, I tend to use very high value colors like white, like kind of the same concept as if you were going to paint the trim on something, because I want you to focus on this and not have the background be distracting. So we'll see how this goes, because these over here need to just be barely there. So we're just going to do a light coloring over here of these, and I'm not super excited about all these lines on this. I may come in with a paint pen in a little while and cover up some of the lines just because. So we're going to just kind of do a smattering of color here, there, and yonder. Want to make sure that these stay behind the fish. not really paying too much attention to the lines, to staying within the lines at this particular moment, because I don't think it's necessary right now. We're just really trying to get some color laid down. And the first layer of color never, you know, it's not very impressive. It'll get better as we get into it. I'm gonna wait on that. Moss green. I'm gonna use that moss green over here a little bit. I like the idea of there being some different colors in these leaves. I like the idea of these leaves being a little more predominant as well. This is leaf green and mahogany. So we're gonna pull some of these. I just want to start to see what colors these are. I'm gonna try to create the illusion that these leaves are a little puffier. Almost like a succulent. And again, you can paint this photorealistically. And I know we're using colored pencils, but I'm always going to use the word paint without having to, and still color things that are just totally made up. Let's come over here. Notice that I'm not coloring the entire stem. I'm using this to kind of make the stem bend. So I'm going to grab this yellow green here. This is the lime peel. Leaf green. Oh, that's a really pretty color. All right. Yeah, that's gonna be nice. So layer number one, getting handled over here. And then we're just gonna kind of leave it a lower value. So super light, barely, you know, just enough to color to get rid of all of the white areas. with just a little bit of color. And I like this leaf green from the Hoo Hoo Hero because it's got enough yellow in it that it comes forward above that Prussian green that we just used, Prussian green that we just used that has more blue in it. And then we'll make them bend even further by coming over it to the top of it with another color later on in the page. But I just kind of want to get some things blocked in. That's all we're doing, is blocking things in. We're just blocking it in. Okay, that's not terrible. I like it. Let's use a little bit of this leaf green up here. We're just gonna lay in the illusion of some of the veins in the leaf. That's all this is. And then we'll come back in later with some darker colors. You gotta do your super light colors first. You gotta do those first. Did y'all get to do any fishing this summer? I sure hope you did. We're gonna try to get a float trip in on the Merrimack River one more time before it gets too cold. Kind of like going in the fall, it's not as busy on the water. So I'm gonna make this bend right here a bit. So I'm gonna bend that like that. That around. I'm gonna grab just to test the theory. I just want to see if I'm gonna grab the mahogany. So when you put the mahogany over the green, it sets it down, because red and green are complementary colors, and this is a red orange and that was a yellow green, and so it's a complementary color, and when you use the two of them together, it sets it down in the painting. See, so that stem is now curving down around that log, which is where I wanted it. So we're gonna add a little bit of the yellow over here. Okay. Well, so now what do we do? Let's get this log blocked in just a little bit, because this is really rough. This is starting to look good, but this is all still really rough and it's hard to look at. It's just hard to look at it. So I'm gonna take that out as I keep grabbing the gold. I don't want the gold. So I want, that's silver. I want like a bluish gray, which I think this is called light gray in the Hoo Hoo Hero. These sharpen so well. Y'all, I'm telling you, this is the best pencil sharpener on the planet. It's a Generals. For these colored pencils, it works like a charm. It's just so good. Okay, so down here at the edge of this log, I'm gonna put in some of that gray first. I'm just gonna go in. I'm gonna go in between the leaves. If I get it on my plant, I'm okay with that because it'll sort of just make it mix into the background, and it's gonna be really cool. It's just gonna be super cool. Actually, I'm gonna go right over that anyway because look, see what that did? Hopefully it's gonna translate on the page for you. What it did where I put the gray over is it made this leaf pop up because I didn't put any gray on this part of the leaf. And y'all, I want to remind you again, these pages are for practice. This is to practice. So I just colored over his fin here. But I'm okay with that because this part of his fin is kind of needed to have some of that gray color in there anyway. So we're just gonna not worry about it. We're not gonna worry about it. It's not a big deal. This is the light umber. I need a good point on this one. Light umber in the Prismacolor. I also think that I want to try dark brown. What does this dark brown look like? Is that the color that I want? You gotta be careful with these browns because some of them have a great deal of red in them, and if they have a ton of red in them, then it really pops that color up. And you want this log to sit behind your fish and not compete with your fish. And you know what, you guys, you don't have to color it the way I'm coloring it. I'm just doing these tutorials for you because when I was a kid, there was no one teaching you how to paint the fish, and it took years of trial and error to figure out how to get the colors to work. So, and I'm not telling you that my way is the right way. I'm just telling you that this is how I would do it and letting you see the progress. Okay, so I've gotten heavier here because I want to shadow cast from the fish. And I'll go back in with some other colors there and make sure that that's, you know, pretty heavy. So. Tell me what your first fish was that you ever caught. Leave a comment. Mine was a bluegill. And I don't know if I remember the exact day that I caught my first fish, but I know that the first fish I ever caught was from Fuller's Pond. And it was pretty freaking exciting. I was fishing with my dad, and I was little. I mean, I probably wasn't even in school yet when I caught my first fish. Okay, I'm going to come over here with a little bit of that brown over the gray and just very lightly start adding kind of random browns to this. I don't want a ton. Okay. Let's see, how's that looking on the camera? Well, that's not looking terrible. I think I like it. Oh, I like, this is a nice view. That's a nice view. Okay. So that's kind of working. That's a Prismacolor color. This is artichoke. Is it gonna be too much green? Yeah, that's gonna be too much green on that. We don't want that. We want more of a brownish gray. So let's go with the French gray. Oh, that's lovely. That's a nice added color in there. And I know theoretically if this was underwater that this tree log would be covered in moss and all that other stuff, but because the fish is so green, I'm going to really bring out the browns, as many different shades of brown in the tree as I can, so that it doesn't just all go monochromatic, which means using all the same color, you know, to do the painting. I also feel like I want to do a little bit of love back here. This is muted turquoise. So I'm going to put a little bit of this right here between the fish and the log. There's that one. Now let's come in with this pretty color. Now I'm going to do the light aqua right over the top of that, because I don't want it to look like ocean colors, even though that's my favorite color. But I do see that sort of connects the whole thing. We're going to come over here to this side and we're going to do the same thing over here. I think, excuse me, I feel like this is actually part of the leaf. I'm going to make that fairly dark right there. That's gonna work. I'll come in over here and add just a touch, just a few lines. See how I'm going right over all that stuff that I've already done. Just a little bit of it. I'm going to come in here. I want the illusion that that this fish is moving so fast that he actually churned up the water. So I'm grabbing some periwinkle. And I'm going to just lightly come in this top part here, in between the green, to give it a little more definition. We want just a touch. I'm about to have to color this bluegill. About to have to get the lower layers done. Okay, so I want a little bit of this coming off of the largemouth's mouth. What's the biggest largemouth you've ever caught? I caught probably a 5-6 pounder out of a farm pond where we used to board our horses. It's the biggest bass I've ever caught in my life, and I was a teenager when I did it, and I've never done it since then. So I've decided, after studying these fish, that I understand the attraction to catching them because they're super intelligent. I mean, they're just so smart. And so I've made it my mission to be more proficient at catching them. And I haven't got to spend much time on the water this year because of doing the book, so I'm hoping this fall to have a little more time on the water to spend trying to catch a few of these guys, a little catch and release action. Now I'm going to take this periwinkle in order to give the allure that this is in the water, this log. I'm going to go over some of these edges with the periwinkle. And it's going to look like the water is coming over the log. It's working. It is working. I do like that color quite a bit, actually. And I really do want this area of the water to be a little bit darker. I won't color all of this out here, but I do want this in here to be a little bit darker to anchor what's going on. Notice I'm trying not to get it on I don't want the periwinkle on my greenery because the greenery is in front of the log. So I'm just trying to set the log down in the water and have the water be over the log. So you're going to have some of that reflection of the water on the log itself. And I know that some of this is complicated, but it does get easier, I promise. And after a while, you just do it without even thinking. You just do it on autopilot. Wow, okay, this is gonna work. So we're gonna make this a little bit darker right here. We're gonna darken this up a little bit right here. Then we're gonna start to kind of just fade it out around the edges in here. I don't want, and I am barely touching this. I'm going to darken some of this up just a touch with the periwinkle. Colored pencils are done in layers. You don't want to get all crazy with it at first. You want to just build your layers up a little at a time. So I like that, but I want to go back to my Oh, this is espresso. Let's see what this looks like on the log. It's not terrible. Okay, that's a little warmer of a color than I want. I want. Let's go back to this one. Good grief, we're already 41 minutes in. Okay, now let's come in with some of that mahogany. That's not the color that I want. I want more of like a burnt orange. Let's try chocolate. Oh yeah, there we go. That works. We're going to come in with the black, and we're going to add some more shadows here. Sandbar brown. We're gonna have to add some shadows from the tree or from the greenery, the vegetation. Come over here with the sandbar brown as well. Spent 45 minutes coloring a log. Okay, so there's that. Then let's come in with this dark color here with the black and just barely, because black is not your friend. You don't want to use black a whole lot in anything because it's going to come too far forward. However, just putting in a little bit of a shadow here where these leaves would be shadowing and these stems would be shadowing is going to be okay. because we've already put all these other colors above it. Now as I go back up around there, the shadow is going to get lighter. That's fun. That's a lot of fun. That's kind of punchy. That's gonna be some shadow there, some shadow there. There's gonna be a little bit of shadow on the back side of that. Okay, look at that. So then on this side, the shadow is going to cast over here. Okay. Well, that's looking pretty okay. It's not terrible. So I'm going to come in here and add a little bit more of the periwinkle over the top of these sprigs of grass right here. I'm going to take it right over all of the log so that it's in the water. You want to make sure that the log is definitely in the water. I'm gonna mix some of this up. I'm gonna take some time to experiment with this a little bit here. We'll come over that with some watercolor so it won't be so liney anyway. No big deal. Some watercolor, maybe some gouache, you know, no problem. I'm gonna do just a little bit of blue over some of this because that'll set it in the water. See, this piece is coming a little bit further up, which we like. These pieces are a little further back. Okay, the water is shaping up here. Okay, this is good. Not terrible. So let's see, what is next? I think that we should lay in the color for this fish right here. And I'm gonna start by going over the entire fish with this sap green. And I am barely touching this. And I'm not coloring the entirety of each bit of it. I'm just getting some sap green in the background of this fish. Okay. Then my next color is probably gonna need to be I'm gonna grab some apple green from the Hoo Hoo Hero. And I'm gonna make just little squiggles, like little circles. Again, not the whole fish, just some of it. Some of the pectoral fin, where the light might be hitting it. These guys are so beautifully colored. You can make yourself crazy trying to get all the colors in there. So I'm just going to kind of bounce a bunch of color around and see what happens. I also know that I'm going to see this color, this aqua color, on his cheek. So I'm just going to go right over the top of that. He's going to have some of it back here on his body, but it's going to be lighter. So we're just going to add little bits of it. We're just going to start developing him. And I do not want to take the time to paint all the scale patterns on him. I just want the illusion of all of that. Now he is going to be, this is saddle brown. So we're going to try and see what this looks like on here. But I just want the illusion of all of his colors. I'm not going to take the time to actually do all of his colors. I just want the illusion of all of his colors. So I'm gonna do, I like this red brown a lot. It's called Saddle Brown. It's in the Hoo Hoo Hero pack. And you guys are gonna quickly learn, if this is your first book with me, you're gonna quickly learn that I use lots of different supplies because the saturation on these is lower than the saturation on some of my higher end professional pencils, but it helps. Okay, so we're just gonna come in here, add a little bit of this red up here, and then we know that the bottom of this fish, first of all, there's gonna be a shadow right there. So we're gonna go ahead and start marking that in. Know that this part of this fish is going to be really vibrant. I'm gonna have some vibrant colors on his fins. He's gonna have some of this color back here on his body. See, that's just going to start blending beautifully with these greens that we just put down. Before it's all said and done, this fish is going to be gorgeous. I'm going to go around his eye just a touch. Forehead, the top of his head here, just with a little bit of that. Now we're going to go back over that with a much darker, like mossy green color. Prussian green, probably. Oh yeah, the Prussian green right over the top of that? That's brilliant. That's working quite nicely. And again, if you make the teeny tiny little circles and you just do a little bit at a time, it'll almost give you the illusion of scale pattern, for real. So his pectoral fin is there, so he's going to have a little bit of a dark spot back here. And he's going to have another one right back in here. Grabbing sandbar and going over that green because this one's further back on his tail and we want it to sit down. We don't want it to come in front of everything else. More of that color on the fin. I want to get in here and make sure some of this is really dark. Right there where the body connects to the pectoral fin. You can push a little harder there, and on the edge of his fin, that's going to be a little bit darker colored too. Look at that! It's starting to develop. I feel like this is hazy. It needs to be cleaned. Oh, look at that. Probably had a fingerprint over it the whole time. Sorry, y'all. Okay. How are we looking up here? We're looking pretty good. This is working. Okay. We got this. We got this. All right. So we've got this fish kind of locked in. He's got a little bit of love going on up there. We're gonna grab a darker brown over here in the this is purple gray. Now, purple is the darkest naturally occurring color on the color wheel. So the purple gray in the Hoo Hoo Hero is probably going to be, it's going to read like black, but it won't be black. And that purple will blend really nicely here. So we're going to give him a little bit of love right in here. Not too much. We don't want to get too crazy with how dark he is. We just kind of want to give the illusion that some of this tail is darker on the edge, and then we'll come over that with some other color and set it down because it's going to be pretty intense. We're going to come up here on his face and give him a little bit of love up here with this color as well. A little bit of this color back here. He is just going to be a beautiful little guy. Okay. Wow. All right. So and I'm happy with that. Okay, wowza, let's start. Let's start putting in some color on this big bass, shall we? Now, my instinct, well, what my eyes see is all the green. But I know that I've got to get out some yellows first. So, I'm going to pull some yellows from the Hoo Hoo Heroes here, and we're going to start with those first. So this one is yellow green. It's got a yellow barrel, but it's got a green tip. Ooh, wow, that's gorgeous. Okay, that's exactly what I wanted. So right in here, we're going to color very carefully. And anywhere that I want white in the end, I'll come back in with some jelly rolls and some paint pens. But right now what I'm trying to do is color where the sunlight is reflecting on him as much as I can. So we're going to put all these lines in and then probably eventually color over them anyway. But you got to start with your lightest colors first. And this is my lightest color first. So I'm just gonna have a little bit of love right there. This yellow, and he's definitely got quite a bit of it here on his pectoral fin. So it's gonna be pretty crazy at first, and then we'll set it all down. But I wanna cover a bunch of ground with this. This color is really intense. I kind of figured that it would be a lot. It wouldn't show up as well because it's you know, the Hoo Hoo Hero and not a Prismacolor. But man, it's a beautiful color. Gonna go ahead and add some of it very lightly in here. There's a little bit of it peeking through up here on his skin, up here on his face. We're gonna add a little bit of it on his lips. Just gonna make this fish just dance. Never in a million years did I think I'd be doing this. When I was a kid, we'd watch Bill Dance on TV, catching fish every Sunday, or you know, whatever day it was on. I'm pretty sure it was Sunday. That was back when there was only like 4 channels, and you know, they told you to go to bed at midnight. You couldn't watch any TV after that because there was nothing being televised. And I just remember watching him catch bass after bass after bass and thinking, man, that's just, he's so good at it. So we're gonna put some pink in the inside mouth portion here. And do the pink all up in here first, and then we'll come in with some of the darker colors and set it down. So you gotta cut, you always gotta reverse engineer all this. And we're gonna have a little bit of pink on this fin over here. I'm gonna have some pink here. Gonna have pink here where his gill plate spreads here. Just gonna add some pink up underneath here because we're gonna have to add gray here shortly to all of this. Some blues, some grays, and some, you know, some of those colors. But see, you gotta put all these colors in first. Look at that. Look at that. All right. I'm gonna add a little bit of pink down here in this. I'm gonna leave that pink out on purpose so I can see it, so I know what I've used. This is dark ochre. Take some of this sap green light and I'm going to start laying in a little bit of the green color on his lip up here, and this will obviously get much more intensified, and right now it's very similar to the color on the leaves, so we obviously won't leave it that way, but I also see some of it up underneath here. Draw that. Bear with me, it's gonna develop. It's gonna be good. This part is gonna be a little more challenging than this part here. Okay, so let's just get started. Let's just get into it. So let's figure out what color this is. Is this that color? Notice that I'm being very cautious here with how I'm laying this color on. This is lawn green and it's going on over that yellow, and it's really, really intense. And I'm being really, really random here with it. I'm going to spread some of it out a little more on his face up here, because this is all going to get darkened up anyway. But we're just going to start to try to find the patterns in this fish. Oh, my belly is growling. Okay, I'm going to put this green over here because I think we're done with it for quite a while. So I want to see what emerald green looks like. Ooh. is not really the color that we need here. But I think once we go over it with with another color, I think that'll work. So what happens if we grab that purple gray? What is it gonna look like that way? It's still not quite right. That purple gray does live up here though. Oh, yep, that's a color. That's a color. Okay, how's that looking? Oh, wow. That's coming together. I'm kind of shocked. I mean, I always hope for the best. I'm gonna get a little bit more of this purple gray in here, just down in this crevice here. Mm-hmm. This is raw umber. I'm just doing some variations here on his eyeball. I'm not coloring the whole thing solid. You're gonna notice that I don't really color anything solid. I wouldn't do it if I had if I was painting. It just would be layers and layers of paint. I'm gonna go over this right here because I believe this would have a shadow on it. That purple gray. It's proving to be quite a nice color. It's a variant of Payne's gray, which is one of my favorite colors to work with when we're working shadows. It's just very good. So we're gonna come up here and we're gonna I'm also going to come up here and start using it a little bit for shadows inside of his mouth. He's so pretty. Look at that fish. He's starting to look round. And we'll come back in with some other pinks and reds shortly, but we just kind of want to get get what I can. Oh, look, his mouth is starting to look hollow now and open. That's what we want. We're gonna put a little bit of this shadowy color over here underneath his lip. And just, you know, keep watching, because you'll notice that I'm not coloring the entire thing. I'm just randomly putting this color in wherever I sort of feel like there would be extra shadow, and then we'll eventually come back in and darken all of these up and really commit to the shadow lines. But for now, we just want that, you just want the idea of it being there. That's all we're looking for, is the idea of it being there. We're getting ready to have to shift to a blue, because this is gonna be a lot. Now under here, I can go ahead and start putting in some shadow color. Now, the underbelly of this bass is like a white color, but you can't leave things white. You just have to leave the illusion of the white. We've got to find a green to start darkening all of this up. So let's try the olive green and see what it's gonna look like. Ooh, that's really pretty. And you'll see again that I'm just going over everything that I've already put down. I actually need to grab some of this blue and go ahead and put the blue in right up in here. Because that's gonna read like a highlight. So that's done. Olive green. Let's see if we can get this. So we're gonna do a little bit of it over that. We're gonna come in here and just start adding little squigs of olive green. Because again, it's just going to give the illusion of scale pattern without actually having to paint scale pattern, because I'm not about all that time on a coloring page, but I want the illusion of it. Sometimes learning all the shortcuts makes all the difference in the world. So we're just going to keep randomly squiggling in here, going over most of what we've already laid down. We're going to leave some of that yellow showing through though. It's going to be really important to leave some of that yellow showing through. We're going to come up here and just lightly kind of go over some of this area. What color is this? Dark green. Okay, let's play with the dark green. Ooh, look at that. There we go. Still not as dark as it really needs to be though. Let's try this color. This is peacock green. This peacock green color is actually up here on his back. Gotta be really careful with it because it will really take over the entire piece. So we're just going to put that back on the tray because it's really intense. Forest green. Let's try some forest green here. Oh, that's not terrible. The other thing I want to do is take some of this lemon yellow . And then some of this canary yellow . And then some of this, which is lime . Peel. I was gonna call it lime zest, but I knew that wasn't quite right, but I was close. Add some of that to his pectoral fin there. Add some of that right in here. Add some of it up in here. It's just a continuance. Oh, that is bright green. We do not want that. That color is not what we're looking for. This one is moss. Let's try this one. Oh, that's not terrible. That's a nice color. That'll kind of... Okay, the moss is pretty good. I'm going to put some more of the moss up here because that's a really intense color. So it's going to bring some of the cheek of this fish forward, which is what I'm looking for. I want some of this to come pop right on out because he's getting his mouth open, getting ready to eat that bluegill. Okay, I'm going to set that one there so I know I've used it and that it's good. but it's not 100% what I'm looking for. Emerald. Let's test the emerald. Oh, okay. The emerald over that purple is a pretty good look. Okay, okay. Let's get that purple black or that purple gray back out. Let's get back into this. So that purple gray. Oh. We might already be at a level of having to use paint to get that one any darker. So we're going to come out with some of this here. Oh yeah, that's nice. The purple gray over all of that lime. Yep. Those are good colors. Yep. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I'm just kind of winging it as I go along here. That's what practice sheets are for. And that's what these coloring pages are for, to help you practice being an artist. It also helps you get to know your fish. I've learned more about these fish because of these books than I ever knew growing up around them. It's pretty exciting. Go ahead and add this right up here. So I can always come in with a paint pen. I think we're going to get a lot of use out of that color. Very nice. Oh, how's it looking? Well, it's coming together. I think it's coming together nicely. What do you think? I would like to figure out how to do these live stream so that you guys can tune in and talk to me while I'm doing them. This is dark ochre. I'm coming in on the pectoral fin and just laying in some color here that will eventually get colored with some other greens and things, obviously, you know, the thing. Okay. This color is really a nice one too. And it's really a nice one over here on this side. Oh yeah, that's what I was looking for. There we go. Okay. Okay. Gonna make that pop a little bit more. I'm gonna give this some color right in here. Right over that green with that same yellow. You're gonna learn that it's just layers and layers and layers and layers of color until you finally get the colors lined out the way you want them. Look at that. Okay, I'm gonna set this one down for a minute. We have all these super dark greens here. So this is marine green and this is kelp green. And they have not been used yet. So let's get in here and get some of this on this beautiful fish face here. Yeah, there's a lot going on this fish. Notice that I'm coloring in a completely different direction now to add some more striations to him. There's a lot going on this fish. Wow! That's actually working. I come in here with the I'm using the kelp green right now. Okay, now I'm going to switch to the marine green because I feel like I need a little darker green. You see how I'm leaving room for highlights. I'm not going in there and getting crazy with every single thing. And we'll come back in with some oranges and some yellows and stuff like that in just a bit. But do you see how we're just coming in with these squiggles? Again, mimicking scale pattern. And in some places I'm pushing hard and in other places I'm just barely touching him. But what it's doing is it's allowing those other, those lighter colors that we've already laid down to really shine through. Look at that. Okay, this needs to get darker. We just need to just take our time with it. Switching back to the dark green. Going back over these same spots with the dark green, just very, very loosely. Gonna go over the pectoral fin just slightly with that dark green. Just want to start getting rid of some of that yellow and turning it more to the green. And this isn't really the color of green that I want for that. I really want that olivey green. What is this? And then we'll come back in with the paint pens and kind of highlight some things and low light some things and, you know, whatever. Kind of go over this here. Let's get in there with that purple gray again and cast some shadows. Goodness. Then we come back up and darken some of this again. Okay. Oh yeah, that's working. Okay, so this is ochre. We're gonna start coming in and laying in some of the fun colors here. And these might be a little over exaggerated, but cut me some slack. You know, it's pretty boring to color with the same like 97 colors of green here. So we're gonna spice it up a little bit. Let's do it. Let's just spice it up. Oh, that shadow looks good. That's correct. These are scales that I'm just barely starting to put in there. See, it's just the hint of it work. Wow, look at that! Okay, every once in a while I get super excited because it's actually working. Woo, 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 woo. Look at that. It is working. Wow. Okay, So maybe we switch gears from this part now and we start working on the belly of the fish. Okay, so the belly of the fish, all of these colors are gonna go up here because these are super important. Gotta keep these out. Belly of the fish is blues and grays and pinks with a little red in there. So I need to find the red. I think it's terracotta. Okay, that is one of the colors. I need another red. Which red do y'all think I should use? Woo! Crimson red? Maybe. Maybe indeed. Here, let's see. Oh, that's really red. Okay, but on top of that purple, it works. It's the color it's supposed to be. So let's get back in there with that. Not the black. I don't want black. I want that purple gray. That purple gray is going to be our best friend on this. Oh yeah, there we go. See, look at that. See, that red was way too crazy, and then you put the purple black right over the top of it, and it sits it right down. So we're using crimson red with the purple black, and we're just lightly starting to add some of those pinky colors and where his gill plate is with us. Because we want those colors there, but we don't want them to dominate the whole page. We're also gonna come up here with that same color. Oh yeah, right in there. There we go. We're gonna start just adding some of this up here. Just little bits of it. Take your time. You don't have to do the whole thing at once. I always try to err on the side of caution and not get ahead. Try to not get ahead of myself with, because this color is unforgiving. You can't go back. So like with paint, you can just paint over it, but not so much with the colored pencils. So you're learning the glazing techniques necessary to become a really great painter with the colored pencils. That's how I'm looking at it. Look at that. That looks real. That looks real. Okay. Are we still in frame up here? I kind of try not to move it around too much. Okay. So let's get up here and let's do a little work. And the goal is always to leave a little bit of that pink showing that we already have available. And, you know, that we've already put in. Because we don't want to kill all of that pink. That pink is supposed to be there. So then we'll come up here with some of this. Just barely putting in the ridges of his mouth right now. And this part is going to be more of the blue than the red. Woo! Okay. I always get so nervous. Oh, that's working. My goodness, this color is really quite a universal color for this fish painting. Okay, so then we're going to put some of this red up underneath here. Ooh, yeah, look at that. Just right on top. There we go. Ever so slightly. I mean, is this going to be, you know, perfect? No, it's not. However, we are learning a lot. We are seriously learning a lot. Okay, that's working. So then we want to come over here and add a little bit of this purple gray over here. We have that other terracotta color too. So we're going to add a little bit of the terracotta up here because it's a little different color. We're going to go over it with the gray. We're actually going to add some of the blue. Periwinkle. Right over all the stuff we've already done, I'm going to put some of this periwinkle in his mouth as well. I'm going to put some of the periwinkle around the edges of him here because that would be reflective light. He would have that on him. Oh my goodness, this is... So then I want some of the periwinkle here as well. There's also a shadow right here from this pectoral fin. This makes me nervous. I'm going to color this in pretty dark with that periwinkle. I'm going to pull the periwinkle on top of his fin just a little bit there. It's making kind of an offy green color. I want a little bit of that color on top of his tail here. No worries, we will get this worked out. I might draw like something around the fish, you know, make it a little more pop arty. I don't know. I don't know yet. I'm reserving the right to, you know, just kind of go with it. That's nice. Just layer after layer after layer of color, y'all. Okay, I feel like some of this green has got to go up underneath here. Yeet. It did. got to go like right there. And this is parrot green. There's going to be a little bit of it down here as well. I'm going to go right over the red and the purple gray and add a little bit of it in there. And there'll be a little, we're going to add just a touch of it back in here. I'm going to add a touch of it in here because then I'm going to come in and set that down so it's not so, you know, in your face. Wowza! This is too bright. That needs to sit down. So we need let's use jade green. Let's see if jade green will do it. Okay, jade green kind of did it. We're gonna add some of the crimson back in there. Okay, it's working. It's working. I hope you're understanding that these fish are truly every color of the rainbow. Because they are every color of the rainbow. All of them are. Well. Okay, how much time? We've been at this for almost 2 hours. This area here is a little concerning. I'm gonna add some yellow to that white. Try to kind of cream this up a little bit here. This is definitely got to get darker. My fin is definitely, because I don't want the white showing through on this, really, because it's kind of throwing things off. So I'm going to go over it with this yellow. Any place where it's still white is going to pick up that yellow tone, which is going to be good. We're going to leave that because that's kind of where he's wet, and so want to be able to see that. Also going to go ahead and just lightly color in this tail portion. And we'll make it make the curve here in just a little bit. See how that sits down. This is Kelly Green. Kelly Green's working quite nicely. Kelly Green is working quite nicely. Okay, I'm going back into the purple gray. Gonna keep developing his underbelly. And I'll go in with some paint pens or some gel rollers. Let me see where my pens are. I also have these drawing pastels that I purchased that I haven't used these yet. I haven't even opened these yet. I wonder if these would help down here. Let's see. I don't know if they will or not because these colored pencils are pretty oily. Let's see, these look like what I would call Conte crayons. But let's see. Let's see if these help at all. Oh yes. Are they gonna work? Nope, I don't think they're gonna work. I don't know. They're blending kind of nicely, but I don't feel like I'm noticing that much of a difference. Well, right there I can. But yeah, it feels like it's just pulling. Feels like it's just literally just pulling the color off. Okay. So those are not going to work on this. That's fine. Well, moving on to other things. Let's put this back away. Yeah, it's coming out, but I'm just not seeing it on the page. It's a little more there, you know, that worked a little bit more. Okay. So the pens might work later. Let's just get this little area here done and then we'll take a break. Okay. So I'm breaking out the watercolors. It's 100 set. We sell them online. This is what I use to do the watercolor with. It's the paint, it's the brushes that hold the water, and it's all synthetic. But we don't want to douse all of this with the watercolor. We just want to start kind of developing some of the areas. So I'm going to grab a little bit of the super dark green, and I don't know if you can see it on camera. You can't really. Let me see if I can move. There we go, kind of. Okay, we're gonna do the best we can here. That's all we can do. There's a super dark green in this, and what I do is squeeze a little bit of a drop of water out so that you can see that the brush is wet, and then I just put it on the paint that I want to use. And I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna just start putting some dark stuff here and there on this fish. And I'm not filling in the entire spot. I'm just letting some of, and what it does, that water is going to pick up some of that watercolor, or some of that, the colored pencil, and just start to kind of spread that around. So you're going to create scale patterns without actually having to draw or specifically paint your scale patterns. It's a great cheat. I love it. So I'm gonna just come in here and start to darken this up just a bit. And I'm getting a little ahead of myself with this, simply because this is the first bass I've ever attempted, and so I need to see where my colors are. If I already have enough watercolor down, or if I already have enough colored pencil down to make it work, then we're done with the tedious coloring part, and now we get to play in the paint. But if not, then I've got to go back and do a little coloring over, and I'm going to just lightly touch some of this and pull some of that down. I'm pretty excited with the way this is looking, though, because it really is looking like the fish has scales. And the paper's holding up real well. I'm going to grab some of the brown. I'm going to keep the brush dirty. I'm not even going to clean it, because the brown with that green on there with the reddish brown will do exactly what we want it to do with the with regards to the wood. It's going to set it down. So I'm just going to grab a little bit of color and just start swishing that on the log here. I'm going to grab a little bit of this purpley gray color and kind of put some of that gray over there, right there. And some of it, I'm literally just getting wet with my brush to kind of blend all of it in. And my brush is not super wet. I don't want a ton of water on this paper. I do want to grab a really nice yellow. I'm going to grab some of this ochre yellow here. And I'll come back in a little bit with some, brighter colors. Maybe some of this. Let's try this fluorescent green really quickly. It should be very transparent, and I'm using a dirty brush, so it'll kind of lower the intensity of it anyway. Ooh, that's a beautiful color. That did it. That's what we wanted. I'm going to add a little bit of that into the fish too. Oh wow, that's really pretty. Look at that color, y'all. I'm going to put a little bit of that on his lips. Kind of blend that right on in. Look at that. Look at that nice blend. Oh my goodness, that's so good. Okay, so then let's grab some of this green over here. Just a touch of that green. We're going to go right over this lip portion here. We're going to go ahead and grab some of the watercolor white. This is going to act more like a gouache, and I do have some gouache paint in here that we'll get out if necessary to make the lips do what we want them to do, because it doesn't look like the white's gonna work the way I want it to work. Well, maybe it will. Okay, it's not terrible. It's not terrible. Now what I can tell you that we do need to do is we need to get back in there and add some more of those red lines. I'm gonna go ahead and kind of smooth some of this out and see where we are with it. Do a little blendy action here. See, all that work we did with the watercolors or the colored pencil is gonna pay off. We're gonna add some, what? Look how beautiful that is. Wow, that might have been too much. Oh, it's okay though. I don't hate it. I'm gonna clean my brush off just a little bit here. I'm gonna clean it off on a piece of paper. Okay. I have a tendency to use acrylic paint the same way I would use watercolor anyway, and this is super cheap acrylic paint, so it should be less intense and a lot more transparent, which is what I'm hoping for here. I'm just pulling it straight out of the tube, which we don't do unless it's desperate times call for desperate measures, and I would like for that to have blended out just a little bit better, and that's what I'm looking for. Look at that. The other thing is that I think we can use this to make our swooshies. Oh, look at that. We're gonna do it. So I'm gonna go ahead and lay some of this down. See, that's very transparent. And I am painting this straight out of the tube. But I want some swooshies so that it looks like he is moving, and I'll pull some swooshies off of the bottom of the fish and the whole 9 yards. And this Artist Loft acrylic paint is not that great. I'm gonna have to stop and get something else out. This is the first time I've painted since being back in Missouri, so I don't really have all my supplies out the way I would want to have all my supplies out, but that's okay. We're gonna make it work. We're gonna make it work. I gotta clean this brush off because that acrylic you can't let the acrylic paint dry on your brush. You gotta clean it off. Okay, so let's just for grins see what this color looks like here. We're gonna grab some of this aqua, come down here and kind of paint a little bit of that on there. Wowza! I feel like there's all kinds of greens here. Green's really intense. I don't want that one. Okay, let's go in and mix it with some of this moss green looking color here. See, I do the colored pencil first so I can just kind of dry brush some glazes over it with the watercolor so you get that painted effect without wrecking your paper. Because I'm trying to not wreck the paper. Some of this. Oh, that's a nice color. I'm gonna go back in and get a little bit more yellow. So this leaf here is going to have some shadow on it because it's behind this one, so it should be a little bit darker. I'm just going to pull some of that color in like that. You don't want to get too crazy with it. Again, we're just adding the idea of some of these details will up the ante and elevate your artwork. Darker green. Let's put this over here on the bass. And his belly should have been darker or lighter. So I'm going to try to go in and lighten that up just a touch, but I don't know if I'm going to get that job done or not. And I want to add some orange, and I'm going to keep the same dirty brush. But I want to add a little bit of orange. And I don't know if that's right or not. I gotta look at my reference photo because I just don't know. But it felt like I wanted to do that, so I did. I'm gonna add a little bit of the orange into this leafy structure here. And then I'm gonna repeat that on this side on just a couple of the leaves. Not all of them, just a couple of them. And then we're gonna come over here and grab some of this blue with that orange on there still, because it's gonna keep it from being too intense. The blue and orange are complementary colors, so they set each other down. They lower the intensity of each other. See, I'm just barely adding some of that background color. Not really doing a whole lot. Just kind of washing a little bit of it on here and there. I don't like my backgrounds to take over. I like for them to just kind of fade off into the distance. I actually just kind of clean my brush off on that background color a little bit. That's how I like it. I'm going to pull some of that up onto this. Because I want this part of the fish set down into the painting. I don't want that to be the focal point. I want this to be the focal point. And I'll come in a minute and I'll add some highlighty things to this to make it more prominent. But for right now, for me, I have to kind of work the whole picture in order to see what I'm actually doing. See how just bringing that water color, the blue, up over the log just sets it down into the painting. We're adding all of that reflective light. And this stuff over here, I'm kind of just covering with the blue because I don't want it to be that prominent. So I want the blue over it because then it's more in the background, see? And then this becomes more forward. And this becomes more forward. Ooh, I'm actually kind of liking it. I'm going to grab a little bit of the lighter color of blue as I come up here. And I'm only putting this color up here because I want to be able to highlight this fish swimming away from the bass. This perch is running for his life because this bass is hungry. And there's no Cheetos in the cabinet, so he had to go out to the grocery store looking for a snack. And this little fish was in the wrong place at the wrong time, but he's trying to get away. So I'm going to come in here and add a little bit of this blue. It's working. It's working. Let me see what happens when I just push it right over the top. Grab some of that lighter blue. And you also see that I am not using the exact same color of blue throughout the whole thing. I'm letting this be, you know, pretty drippy messy. Several different colors of blue. I'm not cleaning my brush so that the intensity is lower. Definitely painting over the logs. You want that blue over the log. Even though it's just a glaze of blue, you want that blue over the log. You want the blue over the fins. You want that color because it's going to set that fish down into the painting. And that's what we're trying to do, is set the fish down into the painting. Now I'm going to grab some darker blue, but I'm going to also add, woo! Hold on to your horses and I'll fix that in just a second. Okay. Not too shabby. I'm not real happy with this area right here yet. So we got to develop the bluegill, the perch, a little bit more. We're going to add some shimmers to the fish and make him stand out and be all shimmery and gorgeous and beautiful. Because we love the shimmers. I want the whole thing to shimmer because fish do shimmer. Fish are beautiful. I've always thought fish were beautiful. I've always been just completely mesmerized by fish. This is the interference green that's part of this kit. And then we've also got some stronger interference colors. a little bit of the interference blue. We're going to add a little bit of that underneath him here. Okay, so I think we have to take a break and let this dry a little bit, this paper dry a little bit, and then we're going to come back and work on it a little bit longer. We're almost finished though, we're about to round the corner. Okay, so I'm going to break out the white again because I'm going to put some white here. I want this to be the underbelly. So I'm going to put a coating of the white on here and see if that helps with things. And then this will be like it's curled up there. And then we'll have some curled up here. And then, of course, this will have some white. And this will have some white. But this will maybe help the situational. And I'm going to put a little bit of it on there, on his fins, because I want some white on the fins. So this is going to have some white area where the light's hitting it there. This is definitely a light hitting it right here area. Ooh wee, this is going to be good. It's working. I'm pretty happy with the way this is working. So, and I'm thinking that, you know, the white is, yeah, that's good. That's really good. Okay. Okay. This lid doesn't fit on here. It doesn't stay. Oh, that's the wrong, no, it's the right lid, but it doesn't stay. It's poop. Okay, so I'm also gonna go ahead and add a little bit of this white paint here because I want there to be some highlights here. Yep. So once that dries, then I can color over it again. I'm sort of using it like gesso. So then I want some white over here, but I don't want a ton. I just want a little bit over in this area here. And definitely. Sometimes I get a little crazy with how dark everything is, so I'm just gonna lighten it up just a little bit. It's okay. It's all good. It's all good. Definitely want some white. I'm gonna add some other color back onto that right there. It's all good. Okay, we're gonna let that dry for a bit. Cool. That's gonna work. Okay, so here we go. Let's see here. I want a little bit of blue. So I'm gonna grab a little bit of the blue here and just pull it just right there. And it's just kind of puddled. I'm just gonna let it dry there, no big deal. I'm gonna put some of it on the fin. little bit of the green there because that's going to reflect just a touch. And probably go back in with the colored pencils. I find the fins are easier to do with the colored pencils. It's a little more forgiving. I'm going to go over some of this with the green. I just am loving the way this looks. I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to go back and grab some of this super dark green color. I know you guys probably cannot see that on the camera, can you? Ugh. Okay, same green color that we used up in here to make these scales. We're going to come down here and we're just going to bounce it around. And make stuff here. Now, I kind of did this backwards. I should have started right here underneath this fin and then worked my way back so that it wasn't so intense, so that the color was more intense up here, more vibrant up here in this area. But it's okay. It's okay. I also went and got a paper towel so I can clean my brush off, because I don't want to 100% clean it off, because I want all these colors to kind of work together. So now I'm going to grab some of that yellow. Oh, I got to move this so you can see it. You just can't see it. So I'm sorry. It's my fault. I'm going to add some of that yellow right in there, just like that. Just like that. My goodness. I like it. I like the way it's looking. Gonna get up in here and get this bluegill handled. Okay, let me see if I can move this to here so y'all can see it again. Okay, there we go. Okay, bluegill. Well, let's see here. I'm gonna grab a little bit of this, a little bit of this. We're gonna come up in here and we're gonna just give him a little boop right there. Look at that. Oh my goodness. That works. Looky there. Okay, next on the list, we're just gonna give him a little bit more color love up here. Just some little bumpies, because we're just mimicking scale patterns again. That's all we're doing, mimicking the scale patterns. A little bit down on his face, get a little bit of color there, just barely, kind of just smearing a combination of what little is on my brush with, and that's got to be a little bit darker there. Combination of what little is on my brush with just the water activating the colored pencils. And these are not watercolor pencils, but they kind of behave that way. I'm gonna grab some more of that yellow, come in here and add some of that yellow right here. Ooh-wee. Grab a little bit of that orange, gonna put some of it here. We already have a base color down from the... Wow! Oh my goodness, that's really pretty. Sure does make me happy when it just works the way you want it to, or better. Sure does make me happy. I'm barely putting any color on this, and it's barely wet, just so you know. We're not working with a ton of water here with this watercolor. We don't want to saturate the pages because they'll wrinkle terribly. We're just trying to add a little bit of color on here. That's all. We don't want this guy to look like a yellow perch. We want him to look like a bluegill. So we've got to be careful with that. I'm going to grab a little bit of this aqua and come over here, and because he's in the water, so that water's going to reflect on a lot of his parts. Okay. He's so cute. He is so cute. For real, he's so cute. We're gonna add some squishies there, some swooshies and some whatnots. And just kind of blend this in a little bit here. Then we're gonna come grab some of this interference green. This is the goods here. We're just gonna come over here and we're gonna streak him up a little bit. We're gonna give him some beautiful color. We're gonna add some of the interference blue. We're gonna drop a dab of it right there. And this is gonna make all the dark colors sing and dance. So beautiful. He's just gonna be just so lovely. All right, so then we do want to see if we can make it look like, well, let's darken up his fin just a touch here. Okay. And then we want to kind of darken this just a touch as well. Oh, look at that. That's working. Okay. Then we want to add a little bit of this green because he's got that green color in there. We're just going to bounce that around a little bit. I'm going to grab some of this super bright yellow and just dabble some of that. Look at that! What do you know? Okay, I'm going to grab some of the dark green. Well, and then once that's dry, we'll come in and add some fancier, you know, highlighty colors or whatever. See if I can get some of those working right now. Okay, then we're gonna add, he's looking pretty good, but we're gonna spruce him up a little bit with some water vapors coming off of him because he's moving and shaking. He's trying to get away from this bass. We're just gonna make like little clouds so you can see that he stirred up the water while he was trying to get away. Okay. All right. That looks pretty dang good. It's not terrible. We like not terrible. So now we need to go back in with a little bit of the purple gray from Ohuhu and the terracotta and the crimson red. I want a super sharp point because I've got to work fine detail on this. So I am going to sharpen this significantly here. And word of caution, be aware of where your shavings are, because I accidentally got some of my shavings rubbed on the other side of the page, which, you know, it's not a big deal. These books are meant to be colored in and loved in and well used, so, you know, that's okay. But it might not make you happy if you get your shavings up underneath the page and you get it on your other page. Okay, so here we go with, let's shade this just a little bit more here, very lightly. This also has a shadow on it. See, this is where the colored pencils work a little bit better. And because of the shadow line in there, we're going to come in and kind of accentuate where the spines are in his fins. And see, I love it because it works right on top of everything. These colored pencils work on top of on top of gouache, on top of themselves, on top of the acrylic paint that we just put on. They're just so good. Just so good. Makes using them so much fun. Okay. Add a little bit of shadow there, a little more shadow underneath his lips. A little bit more shadow in here. Just makes all the difference in the world when you just start adding some extra color here, there, and yonder on these fish. So I feel like I want to add a little bit of color to the eyes, just a little. So pretty. All right, so we've got, that probably should have been a little more blue. I wonder if I have an eraser in here. I need my kneadable eraser. Nope. Nope. Okay, so I'm gonna come in here with the jelly roll and kind of cancel some of this out just a touch. Yeah, that's better. Oh, see, that's much better. Okay, okay, I'm with you. I got you here. This is a jelly roll 10, and these things are phenomenal. If you don't have one, you need one. Add some light right here on this baby's lip. Add some light right here and some light right in here. A little bit of random light here, a little random light here. A little bit of light right there. Okay, let's see here. Yep, that's working. That's working. Wow. Now that was a little too much, so I'm just using my finger to lift some of that up. Just like that. We're gonna come over here and we're gonna add some little splashes so you can see that he's got some water on him. I'm gonna add some highlights to the fin, the dorsal fin. There we go. Oh yeah, that's working. That's working really nicely. Now this is further down his body, so we want to highlight it, but we want to make sure we take the edge off. So we want to make sure we got plenty of light right there on this sweet boy, sweet girl. I'm not sure which one it is, but whatever. Okay, so then we just kind of, I feel like there's, going to be some gonna come in and we're just gonna add a few little touches. Now I would like to add a few little finishing touches to this bluegill that's trying to get away. And see, I touched that just to kind of bring it back down because he's further away, so you don't want the same intensity of highlight there as, anywhere else. See how nice that looks? I'm gonna come over here and add some highlights here. This white pen is like a miracle worker. There we go. Look at that. We just did a little freestyle there. Yup. I'm gonna cover up some of that dark lime. Tap, tap. Woo! Okay, so again, this jelly roll, just a plain old jelly roll. I got that at Michael's, but I think we're gonna have those on the website as well because I love them. And I'd like for you guys to be able to get your stuff all in one spot, no questions asked. Okay, so I feel like I want a little bit more color on the log itself, just a touch. Also feel like some of this orange could be put up here in the fish, just a touch of that. Not too much though, because we don't want to confuse him with the peacock bass, because we do have one of those in here. But sometimes a little bit of extra color just makes it look like you went the extra mile. Adds another layer of excitement. To the fishing project itself, to the painting. So, whew, that's seriously yellow chartreuse. Pretty sure that that's like fluorescent. Look how much that glows. Woo-wee. So, but do you see what that's doing? That's really just making it sure that all the light, all the focus is right here on this fish. Okay. So, I think there you have it. Add a little pop of some of this color here. Not on all the leaves, just on a few. Add a little pop of color here. You see how I'm constantly going from the colored pencils back to the watercolor, then back to the colored pencil. Look how beautiful that is. I mean, that is just, that works. That just works. Yep, that works. I'm gonna darken up our shadows just a touch. Okay, wow. Pretty happy with the way this has turned out. Pretty dang happy, gotta say. A lot better than what I had anticipated, to be quite honest. All right. Notice that some of the shadows are touching the leaf. Then some of the shadows are away from the stems, and that gives the illusion that they're hovering higher above. So, I don't know, what do you think? Maybe a little more here? Also kind of feel like there could be a little bit more shadow here. Again, from the watercolors, colored pencil to the watercolor, back to the colored pencil. And you know, that just is what works for me. I have no idea if this is the right way, the wrong way to do any of this. This is just the way I do it, but it works for me. He is desperately trying to get away. Okay. What do we think? I kind of feel like we're good. Do a little more shadow work here underneath the belly of this guy. Got a little sloppy there. Whoopsie. Sometimes you can just rub that away. Sometimes you can't. So be careful. Be aware. So. Look at that. See, that's starting to move around now. Let's take some of this. Oh, there we go. Remember the white that we put on there to let dry? And we're gonna just kind of brush some of this over the top of it. There we go. It's pretty dang good. Okay. So, let's get some gold activated over here. Maybe a little bit of the orange interference. I'm just gonna kind of bounce a little bit of this color around, take some liberties, and yeah, it might not be exact. I'm okay with that. Okay, there we have it. Okay, I think we call it good. I think we sign it and we let it go. Although I would really like to clean this part up a little bit here. So let's do a little cleanup here. I'm gonna go back into this blue just a touch and just to because I feel like this could look a little bit better. See that? And see how I'm letting that color kind of, you know, get up on the fish itself? What that does is just anchor the fish into that scene. And see where I want the light shining on him, I don't put the blue on there. I just let it I let it ride. Okay, we're gonna say it's done, because I don't think I can improve it at this point. I think it is what it is, and that's that. So, ooh, I dropped a pen. I dropped a pencil off of the thing. Okay, so where do we sign it? I'm gonna take one of my favorite colors here. I'm just gonna come up here where it's dry. There we go. That's it. Start over, but look at the shimmer on that fish. Woo! I think I captured it. Alright, so that is my very first largemouth bass painting. I'm pretty happy with it. So, thanks for joining us in the studio. Until next time, I'm Rio, and this is Coloring Passports.